And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're talking about a game called Vici. This is a preview of the game. The Vici that says here is Latin for I conquered. This is a two-player strategic game in which players are attacking one another with their armies. But it's at its heart, it's really kind of an abstract strategy game to some degree, where you're moving different pieces on the board and rolling dice to fight one another. Let's take a look. Okay, as I say in all my previews, remember that what you're seeing here is simply a prototype, and while this is a very good prototype, it does not reflect the final quality of the game. We're just here to show you basically what the game looks like and how it plays. Now each player is going to start with one of these boards here, a stockpile. They start with 3 footmen, 2 spearmen, a bowman, and a horseman. Each is a different color and also shows a different point basically on the front. They're very easy to differentiate on the board. On a player's turn, they have their spot here at the beginning. In their camp, essentially, is what this is. And you are going to get to put out units. The amount of units you can put out on your turn is the number of empty spaces that you have. You add that up, plus if you've destroyed any of your opponent's things by putting a Vici token there, you would add that. So in this case, let's say there was 1 over here and 5 here, I would get to put out 6 points worth of units. At the beginning of the game, you get to put out 5. So I'll look over here, so I could put out the horseman for 4, or I could put out a 1 footman, or I could put out 3 footmen and a spearman. It's my choice. Whatever units I decide to put out, I'm going to put them face down in my camp, and they're in camp. They can't move this turn. At the beginning of my next turn, I'll flip them all face up before I add any more points and build them. After I do that each turn, I'm able to move up to 3 active pieces. Now most pieces move forward 1 or forward diagonally 1. They can never move backwards and they can never move sideways. Footmen actually have a special ability. On their very first turn, when they come out of the camp, they can go forward 2. They're rushing out. Spearmen can move sideways 1 if that will put them in contact with an enemy so that they can attack an enemy. When 2 people have their arrows facing each other, they're in combat. So a spearman could not move here, but if this guy was here, he could move there. And then horsemen can move 2 spaces, so they can go 1, 2, like that. Now, what you're trying to do is simply trying to move one of your people here into an empty camp space over here. If that happens, that unit is given to your enemy, and you put a token there to show that you've captured it. It is possible sometimes for you to end up in a spot facing one of those, in which case you're doomed. When that happens, your unit is moved over here to a shared stockpile. Either player is allowed to build from a shared stockpile. So the unit's there. When units are killed in battle, they also go there. Battle. Battle will happen when 2 units are facing one another. Now, if both units are the same color, then they will simply both roll 2 dice and the higher total wins. The other person's defeated, sent to the shared stockpile. The person, if the attacker wins, they get to move into the spot of the person defeated, which could put them into another battle and they could win that battle, and so on and so forth. However, if one of the units is strong, see, footmen are strong against spearmen, spearmen are strong against horsemen, horsemen are strong against footmen. If that happens, the stronger one rolls 3 dice and the other person rolls 2 dice. These dice, by the way, are D3s, which mean they're 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the sides. Bowmen are strong against someone if it's a ranged attack. They can shoot from a distance away and kill someone, but they don't get to advance if they win. Bowmen are weak against everybody in hand-to-hand combat. And so that's basically how the game works. What you're trying to do is you're trying to put one of these tokens in every spot on your opponent's side. If you do that, you've won the game. The game is very quick. You're putting pieces down, you're sending them across the board. Every time you send one over there, you make your opponent's army stronger, giving him more pieces, but at the same time, you're slowly weakening him at the same time by shutting down spaces and the number of build points he has. And that's how you play. The pieces are very easy to differentiate from another because of the colors and the pictures on them, and they also are thematic on how they move. For example, archers shoot. Horsemen can move faster. Footmen rush out the gate but then get tired and run slower after that. Spearmen can flank, moving sideways to attack somebody. So all that makes sense. Gameplay in this is very quick, and there's some interesting concepts. As you beat your opponent's pieces, they go to that shared, so when you're building, it's usually better to build from the shared ones so you can build those before your opponents. But sometimes you have a unit on your own side that you'd rather get out, But if I do that, I'm not taking the shared piece. Now, these aren't tough decisions to make, but they are decisions, and you're trying to sometimes maybe force your opponent to put in one of his weak against a strong. The strong units usually beat the weak units, but it's not always the case. It's not guaranteed. I mean, if you think about it, the average that you'll roll on a die is a 2, so 3 2s 6 will beat 2 2s of 4, but it is possible for you to roll 3 1s and your opponent to roll 2 3s, and then they've beaten you. So there's a lot of back and forth, but again, like I said, the game is quick combat. There's no defensive maneuvers. You're sitting there. Since you can't move back or sideways, you're always going forward, always going forward, always going forward. Throw out some units, move forward, go attack your opponent, and come back. So this is a very quick, fast 2-player game that people will easily be able to, I mean, I can teach the rules for this in less than 5 minutes to somebody. You get up, you'll play, and you'll understand it very quickly. If you want to back this game on Kickstarter, in just a moment we're going to show you a link where you can do so and support this game, Vici.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.